in the Indian Canada relations.
Has expelled a senior Canadian diplomat as relations between the two countries worsen over allegations by the Canadians that Indian agents might have been involved in the murder of a Canadian Sikh activist. Hardeep Singh Nijjar was shot dead outside a temple in British Columbia less than 3 years after he was designated a terrorist by India. A statement from the Indian Foreign Ministry described the allegations they'd been behind his death as absurd and motivated. Earlier, the Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau told Parliament he'd raised the issue with his Indian counterpart Narendra Modi at the recent G20 summit.
Over the past number of weeks, Canadian security agencies have been actively pursuing credible allegations of a potential link between agents of the government of India and the killing of a Canadian citizen, Hardeep Singh Nijjar. Canada is a rule of law country. The protection of our citizens and defense of our sovereignty are fundamental. Our top priorities have therefore been, one, that our law enforcement and security agencies ensure the continued safety of all Canadians, and two, that all steps be taken to hold perpetrators of this murder to account. Canada has declared its deep concerns to the top intelligence and security officials of the Indian government. Last week at the G20, I brought them personally and directly to Prime Minister Modi in no uncertain terms.
Let's go live now to Mumbai, where we can speak to our South Asia correspondent, Yogita Lamaya. Yogita, thank you so much for joining us. Just remind us of the details of this case, the background to it.
So Hardeep Singh Nijjar was shot dead on the 18th of June by two masked gunmen outside a Sikh temple in the Canadian province of British Columbia.
It's wild that, like, I guess the more material conditions improve in like these other nations that have been aligned with the Western world, the more they recognize that they can just like kind of get away with doing unhinged shit. And the more you see stuff like this, where like India's like pulling a Saudi Arabia here, kind of, where they're like, yeah, no, what are you gonna do? We're we are your China, you know? If you, like, I don't know how to describe it other than they can kind of get away. I mean, I don't know if they can be able to get away with this in America. I guess they possibly could. I cover Indian news on my Twitch channel, and many people in this chat can vouch for me my take. It's very likely that the Modi government is behind this 100%. The reason is the guy was a Sikh separatist sympathizer that left India. That being said, what India did is completely unjustifiable whatsoever. Also, India wasn't super aligned with the Western world because they're also very aligned with Russia. No, India is utilizing their India is making the most out of this opportunity by, maximizing on good energy deals that they can get with Russia. They get to live the best of both worlds in this situation. India as a economic engine, in my opinion, and I might be wrong on this, is seemingly the neoliberal alternative to China's communist influence, right? Like, in the eyes of the American government, in the eyes of like imperialist forces, they look at India and they go, all right, we have China on the one hand, and that's a terrifying prospect. We have India on the other, who is like a growing, developing economy, and they are much more favorably aligned with our interests. But India, much like, I guess, Turkey in some respects, is basically enjoying the best of both worlds in this circumstance, because they are seen as like the neoliberal, massively developing nation that a lot of people want to make money off of. And by that, I mean like every Western capitalist wants to make money off of the Indian market. Okay? They get to enjoy the best of both worlds in that situation, where they can have decent relations with Russia and take advantage of that. The West needs India to keep buying Russian gas and oil to pretend they're not violating their own sanctions, so India realized they can get away with more and more shit. Yeah. He was a terrorist who was supported by Canada. There are a lot of videos of that guy training other Khalistani terrorists with AK-47s. Okay, so I guess you could just, like, assassinate someone then. Got it. Like, that's nuts. Bro, what are we talking about? I literally fucking criticized Barack Obama for extrajudicial killings of American citizens overseas. You know what I mean? Why the fuck would that be allowed if Modi's government does it? India is becoming America's China, but with Western characteristics? Yes. That's what the West is trying to do. They're trying to weaponize India's tense relationship with China, but I don't think it's going to work 100% because India has its own imperialist ambitions. I get criticizing India, but please, can you ban the racist chatters? Mods aren't doing anything either, but fall for the ad break. What? That is really fucked up. The organization he represents has killed thousands of Indians over 40 years. None of what you're saying justifies a fucking assassination, dude. What the fuck are you talking about? Every single argument that you are making is like listening to Donald Rumsfeld for some reason, but this time from like the Donald Rumsfeld India version, okay? Desi Rumsfeld. Also, you assassinated me with that ad segue. What the fuck? That was a deranged ass ad segue. I love when you talk about India because I always tell my Indian girlfriend your takes and she mauls. Okay, well, don't do that. I don't like how we keep saying, I'm not going to say Iran are the bad guys and turn around and say, no, I literally said, I'm not saying the Iranian government are the good guys. I think you misunderstood what I was saying. Okay. Anyway, at the top of the hour, this is 3-minute ad break. A lot of people are going to hound the guy that was killed because he's pro-Khalistan, and both the Indian National Congress literally did a genocide against Sikhs, and the current administration views the Sikhs as anti-Hindus and likes what Indira Gandhi did in 1984 as well. Yeah. As far as I understand it, the current Indian government has no love for anyone that is not just, a Modi supporter, whether it be Muslims, the massive purges that have occurred against Muslims in India. You have to be Hindu, you have to be Hindu and be engaged in some level of Hindu nationalism. No good grace is allowed for Muslims. No good grace is allowed for Sikhs. Not all Sikhs are Khalistanis, please. Would you criticize the USA for killing bin Laden in Pakistan? Plus, this has little to do with Modi. Even the Liberal Congress hates the Khalistanis as well. They literally assassinated living PM Indira Gandhi. I knew Schadenfreude was gonna chirp about this. I knew it was coming. Heated debate in this community, at least, like Khalistan and the Canadian Indian relations. You know what I mean? I didn't realize that this was gonna pop the fuck off. You somehow way too many Indian neolibs and a few fascists in your chat. Arun Anna has good takes, though. I can vouch. There's way more to it than that. The only people that benefit from Hindu nationalism are specifically upper caste North Indian Brahmins. I thought this would be a non-story. I thought so too, but let's continue.
He's a prominent Sikh leader, and he publicly campaigned for a separate homeland for Sikhs in the Punjab region of India. Now, that's the reason why India had issues with him, with everyone who's a part of this movement called as the Khalistan movement, which is campaigning for the separate homeland. India sees it as a challenge to its territorial integrity and its sovereignty. And it's this has been one of the big reasons why ties between Canada and India have been strained for a while now. We saw that here at the G20 summit, frosty ties between the two countries. Justin Trudeau didn't attend the president's dinner for all of the heads of state and heads of government who were here. And even during his meeting, the photograph of him with Prime Minister Modi, lots of analysts looking at that said that it displayed, just how frosty those ties have become.
It's important to note, isn't it, that Canada has a very sizable population of Sikhs, and that this is potentially why India would have looked towards the activities in Canada with the focus that it has done.
That's right. And India today, in its statement, is accusing Canada, saying that the statement that Prime Minister Trudeau is making is an attempt to shift focus from long-standing concerns that India has had of people residing in Canada, indulging in what India describes as anti-India activities. Of course, in addition to
the CBC video on the Khalistan movement in BC. Trudeau's just mad at India because he's sick. Yeah. He is. He's secretly, simultaneously Cuban and also sick at the same time.
India is emerging as a new world superpower.
India will be the third largest economy soon.
Canada and India have an active extradition treaty, probably an important note for the story. Yeah, but as far as I understand, India tried to get Hardeep Singh Nijjar, but they refused to give him. But I assume that there's more details to that story. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's allegations against India in connection with the killing of wanted Khalistani terrorist Hardeep Singh Nijjar in June has sparked fresh tensions between the two countries. Trudeau on Monday said that there could be a link between the agents of the Indian government and Nijjar's killing. His statement led to the expulsion of an Indian diplomat from Canada. Nijjar, the chief of Khalistan Tiger Force, was shot dead outside of Gurdwara by two unidentified assailants. According to the Global, Nijjar moved to Canada in 1997 using a fake passport. His refugee claim was rejected, following which he married a woman who sponsored him for immigration, which too was rejected. Later, Trudeau referred to him as a Canadian in the House of Commons, the Global reported. Okay, well, I guess he's Canadian then. He was declared a designated terrorist by India in 2020. According to the security agencies, Nijjar was actively involved in recruiting and training people for the banned terrorist outfit, KTF. He was also a part of the separatist outfits for Sikhs for Justice, which held a Khalistan referendum on September 10th. Over the years, India has had several times communicated its concerns about Nijjar's links to terrorist activities. Abi kafayı yiyeceğim ya. Sorup duruyor gerizekalı hala. Mülteşarla ilgili konuşur musun? Mülteşarla ilgili konuşur musun? Sikeceğim ama belanı ha. Yeter ha, Allah Allah. Konuşmuyoruz şu anda onunla ilgili. Başka bir şeyden bahsediyorum bütün sabah. Allah Allah. Ne alaka? Amına koyayım, nereden geliyorsunuz yani? Nereden? Anyway. Over the years, India had several times communicated its concerns about Nijjar's links to terrorist activities. In 2018, former Punjab Chief Minister Captain Amarinder Singh handed over a list of wanted persons to Justin Trudeau with Nijjar's name included. Then in 2022, the Punjab police sought the extradition as he was wanted in cases relating to spreading terrorism in the state. He was wanted in several cases, including the 2007 blast that killed 6 and injured 42 in the city of Ludhiana in Punjab. In 2010, the Punjab police filed a case against the Khalistani terrorist for his alleged role in the bomb blast near the temple in Patiala. UK-based Paramit Singh Pamma, another wanted terrorist, was one of the main accused in the case. In 2015, another case was filed against Nijjar and his alleged role in targeting Hindu leaders, and yet another case was lodged against him in 2016 pertaining to his alleged involvement in the training and funding of Mandeep Dhaliwal and hatching a conspiracy to kill Hindu leaders. A lookout circular and red corner notice were also issued against them. But I guess the Canadian government was like, nope, he's Canadian. We're protecting him. I don't really know why. The nations that chase and neutralize his enemies, even on foreign lands, are feared and admired by everyone. Israel is a fine example. Very happy and proud to see my country in the same league. Dude, yo, India is crazy, dude. They're going bananas mode a little bit. They're getting nutty with it. I mean, this is literally what I would expect from like an Israeli, like a Israeli far right hyper nationalist. You know what I mean? Who would be like, yes, we executed someone on U.S. soil. What the fuck are you gonna do about it? Type shit. It's pretty wild. Modi's India is fast replicating Israel and how it views itself as a global bastion of progressivism, when in fact it's where fascistic Hindutva violence is systematized to repress minorities at home and is also exported wherever it pleases to eliminate those deemed threats to it. It's like when Saudi Arabia threatened to 9/11 Canada for talking shit. Yeah, I know. Canada catches a lot of L's from like America's supposed allies, okay? You underestimated the prevalence of Hindutva, Hindu nationalism amongst common people. Wait, what do you mean underestimated? No, I don't think it's underestimated at all. The topic of Khalistan is way more nuanced than many Indian chatters are trying to make it out to be. No one is defending the Khalistan movement. Also, you don't understand how crazy Indian news gets. I could melt every chatter's brains with some of the headlines. We've seen some of them. They do get nutty with it over there. You have no idea about Indian history and the ground reality. You are looking at the issue through a Western lens. If you're interested and want to know more, come to India and investigate the real issue. These separatist movements are funded mostly by Pakistan. And one more thing, the Khalistani never asked for the Pakistan side Punjab. They only want the Indian side Punjab. Come to India to investigate. Brother, I haven't even said anything like out of pocket. You know what I mean? Beyond just like basic shit. Like if the way I'm looking at this is not dissimilar to like if China were to just like assassinate some fucking guy in Canada, okay? And they were like, sorry, this guy is a Uyghur separatist, okay? And we assassinated him. Like, that would lead to an insane, like, collapse of the current order, okay? And my analysis in that situation, despite the fact that I'm, Xi's top soldier and the biggest China simp, would be quite similar to this. And it's not like I have love for the BJP in general. Here we go again with funded by Pakistan, baseless, no proof, just hateful. Chat is legit insane. You've been asking questions for 20 minutes. Yeah, I have made zero fucking statements that, like, I made very little statements at all. Khalistan wants independence in similar ways the Kurdish people want independence. It's just the Kurdish people are more useful tool to the West than Sikhs. Why does India get a pass when China probably wouldn't for doing this? I've already explained the reasons as to why. Because India is our China, kind of. I mean, they're a developing market. There's a lot of money to be made. There is a lot of money to be made in India. India recognizes that. They use that they use their unique position when they're also actively engaged in conflicts in Kashmir against Pakistan and actively engaged in border conflicts with China at the same time as well. And they have their own, as Arun mentioned, they have their own personal imperial ambitions. It's an emerging market. There's a lot of money to be made there. It's massive. There's a lot of history there. So they're kind of utilizing their developing marketplace and the economic interest that the West has in there. The Sanghis are coming out and they're so mad. That, my friend, is what we call a Sanghi or Indian hog. Really? I mean, it's cool. I see it a lot. Like, I see it online a lot. There's a lot of people who get very upset. I know that, like, Indians love tweeting. They are big fans of Twitter. India is a little like China. If China never engages in socialism and government intervention in the country's development, sorta, yeah. No one in Punjab gives a crap about Khalistan. Only shows up when Pakistan has some change left. I'm begging IMF for Canadian terrorist involvement. What? The farmers' union that protested the farm bills last year are against the Khalistan movement, even though the Indian... Okay, the only reason why I know a little bit about this separatist movement is quite literally because I had to research it a little bit when the Indian government was claiming that the communist farmers movement comprised, in a big chunk, a big part of the movement was comprised of Sikhs as well, was declared a separatist pro-Khalistan movement by the Indian government, if I'm not mistaken at the time. Didn't they literally say that the demands being made from the farmers were actually unreasonable and that they were certainly on board with the Khalistan movement? They did that, right? That's, they also use some nuance in that people living in Punjab are less likely to be pro-Khalistan because things are far more stable right now than they were in the 80s under Indira Gandhi. Like, they literally, they said that back then. Yes, your insane BJP supporter is called a Sanghi, and they're basically hogs. Motherfuckers just talking shit. There's a literal political party in Punjab which used to advocate for separatism democratically, and they keep losing elections. Khalistan was absolutely an astroturf movement. Also, you jumped the gun here. Trudeau is alleged but provided zero proof. Also lied in Congress that the guy was Canadian. This is a really funny take, though, because it's like, brother, if the head of immigration and like the head of the nation is saying that the guy is Canadian, then he's fucking Canadian. You know what I mean? Like, what do you mean? Like, why do you, a guy in fucking India, claim to know more about this dude's immigration papers than the motherfucker who's in the government? Like, what are you saying? Like, that is a wild fucking take, dude. Okay, that's actually a wild take. It's like, nah, man, Justin Trudeau is lying. Like, what do you mean he's lying? It's like one of those situations where I feel like if Trump says a classified document while he's president is now declassified, it's fucking declassified. Like, he's the president. Also, let's say he's not a Canadian citizen. Okay, let's say he's full-blown Indian, okay, and he's just like illegally living inside of Canada. Does that allow the Indian government to assassinate him? Like, what the fuck? What is this take? What the absolute fuck is that take, man? Just really reconsider what you're saying, just for like a brief moment, okay? Also, really reconsider that I forgot to run the top of the hour ad break originally when I got fucking jebaited by the chat. Yeah, here's the Minister of Immigration for Canada confirming he got a citizenship in 2015. Meanwhile, people are like, nope, doesn't matter. That's not real. Minister of Immigration, Refugees, and Citizenship. I can confirm that Hardeep Singh Nijjar became a Canadian citizen on March 3rd, 2015. I hope this dispels the baseless rumors that he was not a Canadian. And motherfuckers are like, nah, he's lying, dude. That chatter fucked me up. But don't get fucked up by the top of the hour ad break by subscribing for $5 or for free. Read my last two chats. If you're interested in exposing Chad to Indian brain rot, feel free to hit me up. I already sent you DMs. I love how you're finally seeing the Sangis in your chat. I've known about these motherfuckers for a while. Also, read my last chat. There's also some nuance in that people living in Punjab are less likely to be pro-Khalistan. I already read that one because there's more stability. Yeah. Isn't it funny that India inherited the British Empire territory claim against China? I mean, wasn't also the British involvement wasn't British involvement a big part of why the caste system was re-solidified and made stronger than ever before in India? Like, that's not surprising at all. It happens all the time. The people utilize prior constructs. People utilize prior constructs that imperial powers were using. I keep forgetting to fucking hit the 3-minute ad break here. Okay, I'm going to do that right now. Although the assassination shouldn't have remotely happened, India claims Canada provides shelter to Khalistani terrorists, and most Punjabis don't even want Khalistan, only a few ones funded by different groups. Yeah, I feel like, first of all, I'm just going to say that these guys, they have kind of a cool, graphic design is my passion vibe going here, okay? Also, it says Khalistan Tiger Force, but the fucking thing is a lion. What's happening there? Why is the logo a lion and not a tiger if it's the Khalistan Tiger Force? That part is really interesting. I don't know what happened there. Like they went with like the MGN collab with Aaron and no. I will. I'm gonna call you in a second if you wanna talk. Just send me a DM on Discord and I'll bring you in, okay? But before we do that, I am going to finish this video while I go pee.
The allegations and the rebuttal from India we've also had on the ground. Canada's expelled a senior Indian diplomat. India's done a tit for tat as well, has said they're expelling a senior Canadian diplomat who they say have 5 days to leave the country. The free trade agreement that was being discussed between these two countries, that was suspended a while ago, again, because of these tensions. So, the turn it's taken today, it's been a long time, I think, that India-Canada ties have been at this stage.
And is there any indication from the Canadians as to what information, what knowledge, what insight they have to make these allegations?
Well, so if you listen to Prime Minister Trudeau's statements, he has hedged himself. He says that Canadian intelligence are investigating credible allegations of a potential link. So he's used the word investigating, he's used the word potential as well. So no evidence provided yet as to what specifically these links are. He said that he expects full cooperation from Indian authorities to investigate these links. He's also said that he's shared this information with allies without mentioning who specifically he's talked to about it. But there are reports in Canadian media that he discussed it potentially with President Biden and with Prime Minister Sunak as well. India has been raising concerns about the Khalistan movement and leaders of the Khalistan movement, not just with Canada, but with other countries where there are sizable Sikh populations, like the UK and Australia as well.
Thank you so very much.
Americans are so oblivious to this shit because, like I said, if you're from a country where this goes back to my same take, like if you're from a country where you don't know that the P word is a bad word to say, Pakistan shortened word is a bad word to say, you just are completely oblivious to this because you don't have a sizable Indian population or a sizable Pakistani population. My Discord is so crazy because there's just motherfuckers watching like a football match right now in the sports channel, thousands of people. What the fuck's going on in my Discord at all times? I never know. They're just watching footy. They're not even fans of the broadcast. They're just they love the footy part of this community, which is weird because I never talk about sports. Is your HasanAbi is your bro energy? UEFA Champions League is back, baby. Your Discord is one of the most active Discords I've ever seen. I know, it's fucking terrible. That's why this community is cancerous in many ways, okay?